Okay, what I wanted to do is give you a just a little kind of brief overview of creating a shipping case. And so I'm not going to create it all the way through, but I'm going to give you a basis as to a way that you can approach this. So the first thing I'm going to do is make some components. So I'll make a component for the top. I'm going to change my measurements to inches. And so we'll start by creating from a sketch. I'm just going to start with a box. Okay, so just a rectangle. It's basically a shipping case. It's a box. So once I create this, I want to give it some measurements. So I'm going to go sketch dimensions, and then I'm going to pick an edge, drag out, and then I'm going to give some dimensions here. I think maybe this is going to be 1/4. I'm making 1/4 of the box because it's kind of symmetrical. So maybe about 12 inches. So the box will be 24 inches long. Okay, so then I'm going to come over here and give some dimensions for the depth of it. And let's see, so maybe about 9 inches, so it'll be 18 inches. So 18 by 24, let's make it a little bit thinner. Instead of 9, let's go 7, yeah. So maybe 17 by 24 inches is what the case would be. Okay. So that's good. We'll finish that sketch. And then we can go ahead and we can do a push-pull on it, a press-pull, and then we'll give it a height. Let's see, let's go for about maybe, maybe 3.4 inches. This is going to be the top of the case. And so this is like 1/4 of the top of the case. Okay, so we'll go over here and name it. This is the case top. Want to name your stuff, and it's a lot easier if you name it as you go. Okay, now let's go back to our sketch. I need some additional information on there, so I'm going to edit the sketch. And I'm going to make it a little cut into the top of our box. So I'm going to create another rectangle. I'm making it go outside of it because I'm going to fillet it and kind of round this box to cut. Okay, so let's maybe something about like this. That would be pretty good. I think that'll work pretty good. So let's go ahead and we're just going to hide our case and then do a press pull on this. You can readjust that in a minute. Okay, so this is going to be my cutting tool. So this is a tool I'm going to use to cut into the case. So I call it cutter. Okay, let's move it up. Switch this to bodies and kind of see how we want it to cut into this box. That's pretty good. So adjust it down a little bit, cut it a little bit more deeper into it. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, so like this is the tool I'm going to use to cut into this other box. And so what I'm doing is using this box to cut into the cutter first because I want it to have this little notch in it. And then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to fillet these edges to round them. So notice that when I cut that box, I told it to keep the box too, so we didn't get rid of our case. Maybe something about like that. I need to round this back part also. About like that. And then I need to round the edges. So we'll fillet this too. That's not too bad. Holding down the control key, pick the other side. So that'll round that. And that'll work pretty good as my cutting tool. Okay, so I'm bringing back our case top again. Go to this side here where I can kind of see how these are going to work together. Okay, so I'm going to need to go ahead and fillet this edge. And I'm just going to adjust it a little bit, and then I'm going to go back and adjust this cutting tool to kind of be more into the box. Maybe something about like that. Looks pretty good. I need to come back and adjust this fillet. Yeah, that one. So I'm going to go ahead and edit that again. And now what I want to do is kind of okay, I moved this afterwards. So I'm going to take this move and I'm on the timeline. I don't know if you knew this, but I can move it over. So the fillet is after the move instead of before the move, which is what it was doing. And now I want to kind of match that arc. Doesn't have to be perfect, but something that kind of matches that arc when I'm cutting into it. Okay. That looks pretty good. I can go ahead and combine these, and I'm telling it to cut and keep the tool. And then I've got this nice cut in here. So now I'm going to fillet this. So we'll pull it in. That's maybe a little big, maybe a little smaller, maybe 0.3. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, so that's got a nice little organic cut into it. I'm going to go ahead and round the edge of the box here. About like that. Okay, now it's a little long. I made it a little bit long, so I'm going to go ahead and do an extrude. I'm not sure why it's giving me this because I didn't move it, so it's thinking I moved it. Okay, so pulling this in, this is just cutting off the excess. Now I can do this as a push-pull, but then a push-pull won't give me a thing to edit on the timeline. So that's the reason I'm using the extrude versus a pull. Okay, so now we can mirror this. So we want to go to body, pick this, pick the mirror edge here, and join that together. Okay, so we got the other end of the box. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. I think the next thing I need to do is shell it, so make it more like a shell. So I'm going to pick these two solid parts and then shell this. And I think I'll make it 0.5. I think it'll be fine. Yeah, that's a pretty good thickness. I don't want it too thin because I'm going to cut some notches into it later, so I'm making it pretty good a sturdy box. Okay, so now I'm going to mirror this to make the bottom, but I'm going to adjust this up a little bit because I think the top is a little too thick. So I'm just doing my extrude on here, and that's a little bit better, a little bit thinner for the top. And so let's go to we're going to mirror it. And it's really actually what I want to do. Let's redo that because what I want to do, let's I'm going to undo that. I don't want it to join together. So I'm just going to delete that and redo it. Okay, so we're going to mirror it again. And then I'm going to tell it not to join it. Let's make it a new body. Yeah, okay. So now what I can do is move this down. And I'm going to move this down to be the I didn't like that. Yeah, I was going to try to make it a new component, but it's not going to let me make a new component, so we'll just keep it as a new body. Okay, so now I can move this down. How thick I want the bottom to be, something about like that. Okay, so now I can extrude between the two. So I can go extrude and pick one side, then pick the other side, and then hide the top. Then it won't join them together when I click join. And we'll keep the pieces as separate pieces. And this is the bottom. Okay, bottom and top. Okay. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, let's mirror the top here. Select it, join that, that's fine. Then we'll do the same thing again. And then mirror that, and there we go. Okay, so, all right, now what I want to do is, we can go perspective where we can look at it better. Let's go ahead and make a camera here. So a new named view, and we'll call this camera 1 because we want to go back to this periodically. Okay, that's fine. All right, so what I want to do is to, let's go ahead and make this case bottom right now. Yeah. Let's... Okay, I think what I want to do is let's right click on this and let's create it into its own component now. Okay, so we're going to make that our current timeline, and then we're going to modify it, and we're going to modify this on its own component so that the timeline is based on that. So we're going to create a sketch on the side of it here, and I'm going to create a little box on the side, a rectangle that I'm going to use to cut into it. Okay, so once I have that in there, then I can go ahead and do a press pull, and I'm going to press it in to cut a little notch into it. Now I want to go to the top. Oops, I need to switch back to our orthographic view, and then I can see how far I'm cutting into it, and I don't want to hit that edge, so something about like that. Okay, now I want to round this, so it is processed, so you really need to do a fillet in these corners first. Okay, that looks pretty good, so I'm just going to hold down the control key and go around and select the other corners. And then they'll all match and set that in. Okay, then I want to round this some more, so I'm going to do a fillet here on this back so it kind of merges into there, and then we're going to do it on the outside too, so it's nice and kind of looks like injected molded plastic. Okay, so that's where our little inset, where our handle is going to go. And that looks pretty good. Okay, now most of these cases, they have little feet on them. So I think the way I'm going to build this, I'm going to just create a box on the side of it here. So let's create it on this. And we're going to extend it past it. It's going to be a little foot. Drag it in. And then I don't want to cut it. I want to make it a new body. And maybe about like maybe that will work. Okay, let's move it out a little bit. It's a little bit too much tucked in. So grab the body and let's slide it out a little bit. And then we'll want to look at it. Let's look at it from the front. Yeah, okay, stick it out about that much on the left, and if I stick out about that much on the bottom. That's pretty good, so let's go with that. Okay, then we need to go ahead and combine these. So, I'm going to join these together. Okay, then I need to, let's fillet this. Maybe about like that. Okay, I got that, okay, I got that piece. There was two of them there, so I need to hide the one. Yeah, hide that one. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Now I just need to kind of round these a little bit. So let's round these corners first, like I did the inset for the handle. So it's holding down the control key to add those to it, and I want to round that at the bottom also. So control key, and click. That looks good. Click OK. Alright, now let's kind of fillet it into the box so it's got a smoother junction. A little molded look. So we're going to kind of, that's a little too much. It's kind of sensitive. Okay, let's go for 2. That's a little bit much. Maybe 1.2. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay. And then we need to do this outside part too. And that looks pretty good. Let's just make it a clean, just 1.4. Okay, that looks pretty nice, molded in. Okay, so we've got the foot in there. We've got the inset. So now I want to just mirror that to the other side and to the front and back. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this. Kind of cut it down the middle. So we need to open our sketch back up. And the sketch. And then what I'm going to do is to create a line. To use as a cutting tool. So I think I'm going to we're going to put it on this sketch up here. Okay. So something about like that. That's a little close, so I'm going to move it over kind of in the middle right there. Okay, and that's going to be my cutting tool. Now it'll project the line all the way out, so I don't have to worry about it going all the way through it. Okay, so we're going to do a split body. I'm going to use that line as a splitting tool. And then it'll cut this right in half. So remove that. Now we want to do a remove and not a delete, because if we delete it, it'll delete the first part too. So we're doing a remove. Okay, let's we want to actually so I cut the top, so I can do that too. So we'll remove that top so it matches it. So now what we're going to do is cut the base. Okay, well, let me use that. I was hoping to let me use that line by itself, but it's going to do the whole box, so I don't want to do that. Let's go back and we'll edit this sketch. No, I can't do that. That's on the side, so I can't use that one. I'll have to go back to the sketch here. Let's edit that one. Okay, so all I need is a line that matches that back edge. So I'm just going to draw it on top of that, and that'll be fine. Okay, so now I can use that to cut these bodies. So we're going to go to split body, click that. Cutting tool is that new line I drew, and it'll cut that right down the middle. So nope, keep that one, remove this one. Okay, there we go. Alright, so now we can mirror this one, and pull around and select that mirror plane, and then that will. Now I made that as a new body instead of joining it, just to check to make sure everything's still aligned, which it does. So I just undid it, and I'll just do it again and join it this time, but I wanted to check it first, and then I'll just join it. Okay, so that gets me my other foot, and now we just need to mirror those back on the other sides again. We turn those sketches off. Okay, mirror this one, join, repeat it, mirror this one, join. Okay, there we go. Now we got the feet on it. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm going to check it in perspective. Nice. Okay, so that's one way to do it. That's not the only way to do this. And of course, I'm not doing everything. You got to come back and put latches and stuff in. But just show you the steps and the procedures of one way to go about getting this kind of injected molded plastic case together. And there's lots of other ways you could do it too, but this is the way I'm doing it. And so hopefully that helps you. And yeah, I think it looks pretty good. All right. Hope that helped you out. Thank you very much.